Welcome to the Swing Trading with Cycles channel. It's December 3rd, 2023. We're going to review gold and precious metals in general today. Let's start with the monthly chart. Just a reminder, this here, right, this was December 2015 was the 8-year cycle low before the last 8-year cycle low, which just happened last year. I say that to remind you. Look at this rally here, right? This is an 80, or I should say, look at this cycle. It's an 83-month cycle that bottomed last last September, excuse me. It had a top on month 56. And so think about that. The rally essentially lasted for 56 months. That said, look at the move out of that 8-year cycle low. Again, this is the one that happened in late 2015. This is basically just consolidation for, what is that? Yikes, 32 months. That's almost 3 years of consolidation before a nice big clean move. Again, this is a monthly chart. So each candle here is an entire month of price action. We just had our last 8-year cycle low here, and we had a top on month 8, which was May. We had this little ugly retrace, and now we're threatening to make a higher high above here. Have we done that yet? So it's 2075, and this is gold spot. So we haven't quite done that yet. And of course, this is a triple top. Look at this top, look at this top, look at this top. Odds are it's going to break through this. Like, I don't think it's going to go, like, and it's not about triple tops don't exist or double top. None of that means anything. What I would say is, this is a chart. This is a chart or excuse me, this is an example of price basically like banging up against the level multiple times. And the more it bangs up against that level, the more likely it's going to burst through. And so that would be month, what is that? 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, month 15. So we're on month 15 right now. Again, so far, there is a high on month 8. That is probably not going to last very long, and we'll zoom into the lower time frames. Look at the weekly, look at the daily. I want to just start on the big picture here, just to level set. And so, if we're on month 15 of what is going to be a very very long cycle, we're still really early. And also just keep in mind, we may be in this phase here where maybe we don't go, maybe we make just a slight higher high and don't just kind of blast through. Have to be aware of that, and like adjust accordingly, right? Don't let too much of your mental capital get wasted. Think about the big picture. Now this is your weekly chart. This is the more actionable view. This is week 8, or I should say week 8 just ended. We're about to start week 9 on Monday. And again, we're early enough in the weekly cycle that you would expect that this rally would continue for several more weeks, which means we should easily be able to clear this high, which also clears this high and this high. Again, this is your triple top, just like your weekly view. And if you think about the other components that we like to watch, your silver, your GDX, etc., let's look at the gold to silver ratio first, because I think that's an important barometer. Generally, you want to see silver outperforming gold, and so that means you want to see the gold to silver ratio start to break down. I posted this on Twitter. This thing has basically been doing this sort of ugly consolidation for most of this year. It now appears, and this is your weekly chart, it now appears to be going towards the lower end of that range. And more importantly, if you look at the monthly chart, if you think about this from a cycles perspective, we had this huge run up that peaked in 2020. That was that big move where silver went down to $11. That's this massive wick. And we've been declining ever since. We had a huge decline here. We've had this snapback rally, and now we're just churning again. So this is your monthly chart. So this is the monthly view of that weekly consolidation we're looking at. At some point, this thing is going to pick a direction, and I suspect it's going to be lower, break down below this line, that $75 area. So that's, again, this is the ratio of gold to silver. So once that ratio breaks down below 75, I suspect we have a rapid move down, which would probably mean silver going to the moon and gold also doing really well as well. You just want to see silver outperforming because that's generally what happens. And if you think about it just structurally, When precious metals get crushed, silver takes it the worst. So by definition, the gold to silver ratio tends to just go through the roof. So if we look at silver itself, same picture on that weekly chart. Just concluded week 8, about to start week 9. And if you look at that monthly chart, this is where gold made its 8-year cycle low. This is the equivalent for silver. Notice silver hasn't really gone anywhere. It's basically just been consolidating inside this kind of range right here. I'll get rid of these lines so it's easy to see. Like, look at that. It's just been a wide, ugly, sort of messy range, but a range nonetheless. And so what we're going to need to see is an attempt to break out above it, right? Which maybe that comes early next year, right? Because right now we're obviously running out of time, but that's what you want to see. Very clear. We're either going to see that in the next couple of months or we're not. That's what we're watching for. That is my expectation. That's silver. And if we look at GDX, and then we'll close out with the actual gold GDX to GLD ratio, that gives you a sense of how miners are performing versus gold. Again, same exact count. Week 8 of the weekly cycle. In this case, 33 is the first level we need to break through, which is a magnet to 36 from there. And if you look at the monthly chart, similar to silver, hasn't gone super vertical since that major low with for gold. Has been more of a consolidation, which could suggest a catch up. It could also just be a harbinger that this is a false breakout. We have to be aware of both sides of the potential, like both ways to interpret it. And finally, GDX to GLD. I mentioned this on Twitter as well. Look at this. I mentioned gold, GDX, silver. They're all on week 8. This is the ratio of GDX to GLD. So when this is going higher, it means miners are outperforming gold. This thing actually just bottomed 3 weeks ago. It just concluded week 2. So while gold, silver, and GDX are going to be starting week 9, the ratio of miners to gold is going to be starting week 3. What that means is that miners have just started to outperform gold, and they are earlier in that outperformance than gold is in having bottomed, which is a potentially positive sign. It tells you that this could have more legs to run, even though we're already 8 weeks into the gold cycle, into the rally for gold, into the rally for miners itself. So this is definitely worth watching. And if you look at what that does to the monthly chart, again, these are all correlated. That date where gold bottomed, this thing bottomed as well, this ratio. And it flirted with like coming back down to that level. This isn't super healthy. Again, similar trend that we saw for GDX and silver. Like, not the healthiest rally out of this major low, which on the one hand is a potential red flag, something to watch out for, but also could be fuel for a move higher for a catch-up trade. We just have to have our head on the swivel to make sure that we're watching for which direction we're going to clear, obviously. And so those are. So I think that's. I guess let's look at platinum as the very last thing. We'll try to cram a lot into this video because I'm just not able to post as often. And so platinum is just, man, this is a tough one, right? Because platinum also appears to have put in a major low along with gold, GDX, silver, etc. But this is probably the worst of that cohort. Look how close it came to retesting this low, and it's not out of the woods yet by any means. This does not look healthy. These lower wicks are a little bit promising because it tells you buyers did kind of flood in, so that's great. But man, this is not an easy trade to be in, and it's still sitting below a swing high from month 7, which is just not auspicious. I mean, look at this series of lower highs with all the massive wick, which just tells you sellers dumped on this thing, buyers kind of ran away. So that's important to know about. This could be a sort of early warning signal. If we get a move above 950, that is a good sign. That gives us a monthly swing low, right? Like, imagine a move above here, right? Anything above that makes this thing a monthly swing low, which is a slightly higher low than this. So that's bullish. Again, this will be a good sort of ancillary one to watch for any clues. So that's the lay of the land for precious metals. Thanks for watching.